Hey guys, what is up? My name is Luis. And yeah, this is my very first stream ever. I made sure to do this on a February 29th for my first ever stream. Um, I remember my 2016 and 2020 leap days. 2020 was that leap day was one of the best days I've had. It was so sick. 2016 was, I remember it, and it was pretty lit. Today's been a little boring, but we're here to change that. And we're changing it by starting off this stream. Now, I don't think I'll have too much time because a friend of mine wants to go grab some drinks before he flies off to Poland and then does like a hiking trip there and then goes down to I think Czech Republic, or I think he's going to Czech Republic, and I don't know what other countries he's going to. But anyway, point is that we're starting the stream, and so I'm Luis. I am currently 25 years old, and I am 1 year into my software engineering job. I am a software engineer. Uh, Technically, that's not correct. Technically, I'm a site reliability engineer, um, but I think it's pretty cool experience, especially for a first job. Um, and I like my job. I really like the people I work with. Um, but there's motivations that I have for creating the stream, and they kind of lie in two things in particular, which is I feel that I am not managing my time well in terms of my spare time. Like after work, I just like lie on the couch. I wouldn't do anything. I find myself wasting a lot of time in the sense of like I'll watch videos about tech, and like there's obviously like a passion that I have for it, but I don't build anything. And then when I build something, it's like everything I have in my head is just like it lasts for like 2 days before I'm like, oh, maybe I don't want to do this, maybe I do want to do this. And it's just like I don't know, if I go through the act of streaming, I kind of force myself to spend time into doing stuff, and learning stuff. And then the other thing is that you know, assuming that I have an audience, which like I don't really totally care if I do have an audience or if I don't. To be honest, this is kind of more of a thing for myself because it kind of just forces me to really elaborate, speak about things that I have on my mind, and just do things. And so that's kind of the purpose of the stream more than anything. So that if there's ever time I want to dedicate towards building shit, towards doing things, I can do them in the stream. I will look very dumb in doing them in the stream. And then, point is, I do that stuff in the stream. And then once that webcam shuts off, I can do other things. And I won't feel bad about myself because ultimately this is a stream of personal development. Now, why is it that I want to do a stream on software engineering? You could be like, hey, you could do anything, video games, and I play too many video games. Doesn't really I don't really find too much enjoyment in it. Um, I kind of I keep breaking my rule of if I'm gonna play video games, I'll only do it with a friend. It's like kind of like a default setting for me where like I'll just do it because it's just like easier, and it's something that I really hate and something I want to change. And another thing is, so I really like my job, um, and I feel like I'm learning, but I'm learning very different things than what I had expected. And unfortunately, I don't think that I'm learning too much about technology in a low level programming aspect. I feel like I'm learning in terms of like systems as a whole and understanding value, delivering value, and then trying to do projects that can can be iterable and deliver value. Um, and that's kind of like what I've been learning. But I don't get into like memory management or like, really low level component writing, which is something I kind of really like, or kind of, I don't know if I like, but I'm like, I really, especially in university, I really, really dig that part of computer science, like the whole aspect of like the assembly. There was one thing where in assembly, well, you could look at code in assembly and then you'd write a virus, which was so cool. And you'd learn about how to exploit memory and like all these different things. I just find so freaking cool. And unfortunately, it's not something that, like that aspect of things, I don't know if I'm totally getting it, receiving it. And I want to understand it. I want to get better at it. Sorry, I just got a message from a friend. And yeah, so without further ado, let me start talking about what I hope the stream is. So at the end of the day, the stream is for personal reasons. So at the end of the day, it's just to be better. I fucking hate. Please. The hell is this, dude? Okay. What the hell? What is wrong with this? Okay. What if we created a new file? Sorry, I just started using Zed, the editor, and it's just to test it around. My main editor at my job is actually Emacs. That's not for clout. It's just because, for me, as weird as that sounded, that got the job done for me. Because my job involves a lot of like programming into the server, and you can use this thing called Tramp, which just essentially means you can modify files through SSH or through SH or whatever. Yeah. So, stream purpose is to just be better. And I mean that in the sense of, right, I should be doing this in org mode, right? Anyway, I don't actually have Emacs on this Mac, so maybe I'll change that. It's just because I got a new fresh install. Long story short, I tried to install Gen 2 onto this laptop, and I fucked my computer, and had to go to the Apple store, and they flashed it, gave me Mac OS, and then this editor came out, and I was like, fuck it, I'll try it, because it's Mac OS only. But anyway, be better. And I mean that in the sense of a time management. So the time I spend in the stream is time of value where I can like learn, right? So oh fuck, as you can see, I am very bad also at Vim. So more time equals more learning. More time equals more learning. What else is there? Time management. Yeah, that's pretty much that aspect. The other thing is be better in terms of knowledge. That I already just got into that. But it's also about I guess being clear with the things I want. So you could phrase that as like clarity slash insight. Not just into the things I want to know, but also into the things that I want. Um, and also, I just hopefully I get a few viewers for the sake of interacting, because I kind of enjoy that. So that's the stream's purpose. And also, another thing is to build stuff. I think like I'm really bad at holding myself accountable to building projects. And I think the stream will be a good way of doing that. And so, yeah. So that's kind of the stream's purpose. Now, how am I going to approach the stream? So my approach to the stream is I want to ultimately work on a project with you guys. There's different projects that I have in mind. So we can go into projects. What am I doing? Projects. One of them would be things like a chess engine. Another would be things like, I don't know, like a poker calculator, stuff like that. Honestly, it's not like that big of a thing, but I think the big one, honestly, not big one, but I think something like a trading bot. And you're gonna be like, oh, you know, fucking this shit again. But there's actually a reason why I think this project is really good. And I say this because I feel like it's a very complete project in terms of the things you get to touch. You get to touch things such as like network programming, which I frankly want to be a bit better at. There's things like there's a lot that goes into it. There's a ton of mathematics, and within mathematics you get things like stats, some machine learning. There's just like a bunch of other stuff like financial. I can't spell today. Financial mathematics, and then this is like huge. And there's also like a ton of cool modeling we can do, right? There's a lot of like modeling in the sense of like behavior, all this sort of stuff. Which, speaking of which, I really do enjoy the aspect of economics, like being able to talk about the real world. That's something like I really like. Network programming, mathematics. There is a lot of like, I guess like low level programming, because the execution of your ideas needs to be really performant. Obviously, you're not trying to compete against like people who do high frequency trading, but you do need to be very performant. There's a lot of work that goes into data manipulation and things such as like forget data manipulation. There's also things like understanding data in programs, right? Like you get to design around the data that you end up receiving and working around that. And I think like that's just something that's very, very crisp, very clean. There is like, you can even get into, this is honestly a huge stretch, the whole FPGA aspect, but you can do that stuff, right? Like if you're trying to, yeah, like, okay, maybe that's a bit too much of a stretch. That's not why I want to do it. I do have an FPGA board, by the way, but there's just like a lot that goes into that. There's also the aspect, another thing that I find really freaking cool is the fact that you do a lot of like algorithms, but I don't mean algorithms in the sense of like like there's something about, it's almost like a large poker game of sorts, where if you can understand, um like I feel like there's misconceptions about the market, and it's like finding patterns in the market, and it's not like a technical analysis sort of sense, but it's about exploiting, that's such a bad word. But it really is about exploiting, the faults of other players, in the space. So, for example, if you can understand or crack the behavior of someone else's algorithm, right? Um, there's like this whole, like, sorry, let me just do game theory. So for example, if you can understand the conditions in which someone else will buy something, and they're a large enough of a player in whatever market you're dealing with, that increases the price of something, you can sort of exploit that, and it's like a cool treasure hunt of sorts, which I find is pretty cool. And the other thing is, when it comes to modeling, right, you can even do things, that have to do with, sort of real world, data. Okay, this sounds really weird, but what I mean is, like, say you're investing, or you get passionate into the idea of investing in some sort of commodity. Then it's about forecasting those things, right? Forecasting, weather data, or like it's creating a system that has so many of these elements and combining them into one thing, and it's like this huge entire complex system to do like one of three things, which is either buy the thing, sell the thing, or do nothing. And it's kind of insane, the amount of work you can put into, something that just has one of three outputs. Obviously, it's a very simplified manner, but my point is, it's a very, very complete project that I think is, pretty cool. Now, if you're wondering why there's neat code here, it's because, I started learning to write Go, and I felt, well, neat code has this thing where you can implement, like data structures, and I felt like that was a decent enough a way to learn that. But honestly, I don't know. Like we'll find out what, depending on the project we choose. I'm ultimately going to learn, either Go or Rust. Those are the two things. At my job, I do C++ and Python. So this is like the C++, and this is like the Python. But okay, probably just triggered a bunch of people. But point is, C++, low level, with high level abstractions. And then Go, which is high level but with low level abstractions. I read that. You think I know that? Hell no. Anyway, so that is, sorry, I got in. Sorry. Yeah. Go or Rust. But also another thing is I want to, like get into the education aspect of things. So if that means like reading a textbook, or doing other things. Oh, there's other projects, by the way, which I will get into. Actually, I think, what's it? So I'm not sure if this is, okay, yeah, training bot. Okay. Another thing is, this is a search engine of sorts. And this is not like a web search engine. It could be something like a PDF search engine. right? Like, okay, maybe this isn't totally legal, but imagine if you can compile all PDFs or EPUB readers and all this stuff that just has like this immense repository of information from textbooks, all high quality data sources. And so if you want to learn something that you wish to find in a textbook, this would be something that you'd be able to do. And I think that's like a really cool thing. Or rather, learning either like textbooks, lectures. We could also do textbooks, lectures, and I guess we could say things like coding competitions. Actually, this should be its own thing. Actually, why did I do that? So, coding competitions. So it could be things like advent of code. It could be things like what's that called? The thing, code forces. Yeah, so stuff like that. So education, textbooks. So lectures, for example, I was thinking I could do computer systems, a programmer's perspective. That was one thing I wanted to do. Another thing, crafting interpreters, just because I don't really know that much about compilers in general, or that like whole aspect. Computer systems, a programmer's perspective. So yeah, there's a lot to do here. Chess engine, I mean, I like it just because it's all about high performance algorithms, and it also requires deep understanding of the game of chess. And then this kind of gives you also high performance algorithms, but mainly it's like calculations. It's not like high performance algorithms in the sense of like in poker there's a very there's obviously the concept of things like expected value, the probability that you have, right? There's a lot of things to do with probability. But at the end of the day, you can, like, knowing a hand, it's deterministic in that probability. It's not like you have some sort of, like, the outcome of hands, I'm pretty sure that can, like, intuitively, I feel like whatever hand you have, that can be calculated, like, to be a very, maybe not, because just like the set of all hands, right? Like every hand, every poker game is like unique because you have 52 factorial sort of orderings of cards, and so like you can't have two of the same games. But it's kind of like with chess, there's an idea of like a quantification of positions, right? Or assigning value, right? Like there's a concept of given a position on a board, right? How do you classify the value of those things to be? And I think that's like something that's pretty cool. The trading bot, I think the other thing is that it has money involved. And I like money, but I have a very weird relationship with money in the sense of like, obviously money is great because I feel like it is an enablement for things that you want to do. I don't think it it definitely doesn't buy you happiness. But like without it, life is a lot harder, you know? But that's not why I like money. I like the concept of money. What I mean by that is that it is sort of what I really like is the idea of value. And money is like such a direct way of being able to quantify. It's like a quantification of value, right? Like that's like what we talked about here. Money is just that, but with like the real world. And that is like so freaking cool. And I love the idea of like 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 with money you get into this aspect of like understanding composite, or what's it, aggregation of value, right? Things are only worth not what just one person said it was worth or this other person said it was worth, but like a sort of conglomeration of opinions into something that a person selling an item and a person buying can come to terms, right? It's like moving the needle, and that's just so cool. And the idea of I also I enjoy that aspect of like how do money systems work, right? Like what exactly is money? Which honestly here, what is money? There's a textbook somewhere that I know, and it's free, that we can look through online. But point is, yeah, understanding aggregation of value. And it's like not just that, but having an insight of something can give you like a understanding of what the future holds. It's almost like you can work to be like you in this project, you're kind of like, when you talk about the idea of growing money, there's many different ways to do it. There's many approaches, but like one approach that I find just so amazing is, what is your understanding of the world? And in that understanding of your world, right? How do you extrapolate the present into using your model that you have of the world, extrapolate the world into some point in time in the future, some arbitrary point in time in the future, and then betting on that. And it's like you're betting on that model you have in your mind. And it's your job to learn as much as you can to be able to improve that mental model you have. And your results are a direct is like a it, it's like a it, it's a direct numerification on how correct you were, which is such an insane thing if you like thinking about it, like for myself, where it's like, yeah, it's just it's so fucking cool, honestly. And that's why I enjoy money, because it's not like, oh, I can go ahead and buy all these things. Like, I mean, I like to buy stuff, you know, like I'm like, I love going to football games. I'm going to the Copa America football, real football. And yeah, man, like it's just so fucking cool, you know. And it's not just like whatever mental model you have of the world, but now there's like two quantifications, right? There's like turning it into a systematic process. But it's like delegating certain aspects, either it's like in helping you create that abstract model in your mind, or actually putting that abstraction onto a system. And that's just such a fucking cool thing, honestly. Um, and that's why I like that, honestly, that's like why I enjoy working with things that have to do with money, right? Like, for instance, I find myself just attached. Like, if I'm reading articles, right? Like, I'm just like reading things like so many times. Like, there's things I really, 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 really want to like, you know? Like, one of those things is, for example, like, I really want to like physics. And I love like, and I wish I studied it because I didn't. I did computer science and I did business. And like, I didn't, I regret taking business a bit. I mean, I don't, because like it kind of opened the door for me to work in financial technology, which is, so I work in financial technology. And I don't think that has had like an in like it had that wasn't what influenced this thinking here. It's something I always really liked. And with physics, it's like I feel that it's yet another like quantification or a systematic quantification of the real world. But instead of it, it's like of a natural system, right? Whereas in this thing, it's about a behavioral system plus incorporating some of the natural system element side of things, right? Like predicting, how good wheat futures will be, right? And you can use weather, you can incorporate the real world to do those things, and you need to understand that. But it could also be like behavior, right? You need to incorporate not just like how well the production of things for wheat is, but like, hey, how much do people really need that? But my point originally was that with physics, like, maybe like I really want to learn more about it, but like when it comes to like when I run into an article, like I find it harder for me to like stick through it and just like read like through those things. And it's probably more so because of my lack of understanding, and then I just get frustrated. Um, oof, sorry. Um, sorry. Sorry, I just saw a message. And yeah, like I kind of lost my train of thought a bit. Sorry. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, and with for example, with like things like money systems, dude, like I was reading this thing like right here. And like look at this. Like this is just emails. Like this is just a bunch of emails, right? Um like 255-ish emails. Dude, like I couldn't stop reading this stuff. I couldn't stop reading this. Like I had to stop because it was like 2 a.m. and I want to continue it. But it's basically like that's insane. You know what I mean? Um I don't it's not for me, this is honestly some of the most awing thing that I've seen in a while. Cause like it's not like, oh, crypto this, crypto that. It's like one, it's this person who wanted to design a system of money. A system of money that that was it was like it's a complete new paradigm, right? It's a difference. It's trying to. It started off with a vision of how do you change the trust model for the movement of value, for the movement or a quantification of value, right? Traditionally, they used to be in the hands of banks, and the fact that it came in 2009 was probably a direct inspiration from like the bailouts and all the nasty shit that happened in the housing crisis. And I also find myself reading a lot about like that sort of stuff. Like I read, for example, The Big Short, the book. I've read about like the book on Jim Simmons, a bunch of like these books that have to do with like the market. I always find myself like reading into that. But anyway, so going into that, it's just kind of like, so this person like thinks about how can you change that model of trust, and in doing that comes up with like just such a brilliant system, incredibly novel for its time. And like these emails are basically like them talking about just iterating or improving on these systems. And it's like it doesn't like, it gives you an insight, sure, into how Bitcoin works and all that stuff, but it's more so of like, fuck, dude, like this is like someone in the midst of building something revolutionary. And the most insane thing is that it's from this person, Satoshi Nakamoto, who somehow in today's day and age still is totally anonymous, right? We still don't know who this person is. And this person built, what ended up being like something that is valued in the like $1 trillion, right? And it's like, I thought before reading these emails, and this is a very stupid thought or ignorant thought, but I thought this person just made a white paper and obviously built it and then released it and fucked off, right? And still, like, obviously there's a person behind it or whatnot, but there's sort of like a mythical component to it, right? There's like a mythical component to that sort of like it's an entity that just appeared, released something that ended up being totally profound, and then left. And that was like kind of my model of it. And it's like, something of like a religious figure of some sort. But then I don't mean like I don't mean like putting this person on a pedestal. I mean like in a mythological sense, right? Like religious figures kind of just appeared, have this sort of like lore behind it, but fucked off, and there's no like proof of, or not proof, but there's no like formal verification of like this deity or entity, like, or whatever, like something written down that came directly from this mythological, I can't even say the word, entity. And all of a sudden these emails, it's like there's something human about this, and it's like, it sounds so dumb, right? Like it sounds like I'm like giving this person like a deity status, but it's not that. It's like, fuck, like there was a person who like built something that ended up being Bitcoin, and like profoundly changed the way the world worked. And I find it like particularly more passionate and more inspiring because it falls under a system of money. And like to see the fact that there is a very technologically capable human behind like this sort of building of a system has kind of given me a lot of inspiration that like, fuck, dude, like, I don't know, man, like I struggle a lot with feeling very invaluable or worthless in my life. And I think that the reason is that I feel like I have the capability to do things and build things and I just don't do them. Um, I just don't do them. Um, I don't really know why. And I have, uh, I get this feeling that I can build things, right? Like Bitcoin is just like insane, right? Um, and like I admire the fact that there was like a person who like thought of that, wrote it, released it, somehow chose to remain totally anonymous, which like I have no idea how this person did this, but it's like it gives me motivation in the fact that I too can build a system, you know. Um, and it's not like I want something to be as big or whatnot. It's not. It's more like I just want to build a system that has value to someone else. Like I think that to me, I feel like is a calling of mine, and I don't know, man. Like I don't really know if I'm getting that fully from my job. I am building things of value, but it's almost like you're confined to this one you're confined to this one aspect of the system, and like maybe it's also more of my fault from like how I maybe it's more so my fault of how I do things out on my job. But I kind of really want ownership in like the building of these systems and all that stuff. Um, Sorry, another text message. Fuck, I should stop reading these. But point is that fuck, where I just lose myself. Um, oh, ownership of systems. Um, I feel like I want to own or not own. Okay, that's not what I mean. It's not like I want to own a system, but I want to be able to contribute to all aspects of a particular system. Whether that is like understanding the customer, building something for a customer, um, and like understanding the technical details of a system and like incorporating those aspects, understanding um there's like there's different systems that happen, right? It's not just like what you build and the product you're delivering, but it's also like the people behind that, right? And it's like understanding the people behind it's like understanding the people that work to build the things you want to build, and it's like designing for that, designing for right, like it's systems of managing your own time and managing resources, right? What is the capacity of things you have available? What is the capacity on the time you have available? How much money do you have? How much capital? Right? It's like this balancing of things that like I just really fuck with, I think. And it's something that I want to do. And I don't know, I feel like in some way or another, the stream is going to help me in one way or another to go through that. Sorry, I have to answer this message. Sorry, I need to answer this really quick. I'm sorry. A friend wants to hang out. Um, sorry. Sorry. I just need. Just my buddy. He's gonna go to Poland. And he's flying tomorrow, and he wants to hang. Anyway, I want to see how. Yeah, and I think that this stream is in some way or another going to help me do that. I hope. And so, yeah, that's kind of where I am at right now. And yeah, man, I think that's. I think I've elaborated a decent amount on what I want to do with the stream. Now it's all about following up. I think I'll do a good job at that though. And I love the fact that it is February 29th. That this is the first stream. I feel like it's very very poetic in some weird way. But yeah, I am very looking forward to it. And there's other things I have in mind. Like I would love to show you guys. I wish I actually connected my phone. Actually, I'm gonna see if it's possible to. We'll do a next stream because I can connect my phone to OBS and then show you my place. But I basically have another thing I was thinking of was things such as something like a server of sorts. So that involves things like Nix OS and a web page. And like it's like, oh, you know, that's simple or whatnot. Well, Nix OS is pretty cool, and I kind of want to dive a bit into that. But also, it's the idea of I have 3 Dell Wises, so I'm gonna switch this up. So Dell Wise, yeah. Yeah, man. So I have like 3 of these, all the same model. Total cost me like $60 something. They all have like 8 gigabytes of RAM each, and like 4 gigabytes of RAM and like 8 gigabytes of storage. But the point is that I can learn things about like clustering, or things like actual hosting without the cloud. I think is really cool. And yeah, so that's that. And so this is basically, I'm going to save this. Ultra faster notes, journal. Yeah, there was other attempts, but of the stream, but this is the real one. Stream purpose .txt. Actually, I'm gonna do a stream purpose. Okay. Actually, now that we're here, wait, I think I have Emacs. I think I was just capping this whole time. Ah, I did have it. We'll see. I don't know why I totally forgot I had Emacs. I lied. Okay. So let's see what notes I had. This was a stream plan I had. Let's check this out. Advanced C++ mechanics. I'm not gonna do C++. Fucking. This is stupid. Computer systems. Oh, this was like time commitments, and then stream plan. Not stream plan. Sorry. Pilot stream. Yes. Okay. So you see, like maybe I did prepare for this, so maybe I was capping. No, but this is the first stream, for sure. So I wasn't capping about that, but I was thinking of it. So it's not totally improvised, but I didn't look at these notes before starting the stream. I just wrote these down before because I wanted to do them. So I forced myself to improve as an engineer, get better engineering, follow through on the creation of programs, develop a better intuition when it comes to design systems. So they talk about the stock trading bot, which is network programming, low-level optimizations, reliability engineering, which is really freaking cool, right? Like you're talking about redundancy of systems, like fail-safe mechanisms, virtual and physical world. What I mean by that is like, fuck the algorithms going haywire. Let's just put in like there's a virtual redundancy check, and another is the power went out, and like how do you continue with that? Like you know how data centers have batteries to like keep those servers running? I don't know. There's like physical world redundancy things you can do. And there's a concept of, you know, what is the state of the system, right? And if you have the state of the system, how do you protect the integrity of those things, right? There's things like concurrency, sure. Algorithm development, right? Mathematics, like machine learning, game theory, statistics, money, hardware level optimizations, which I totally forgot to write, like operating system optimizations, kernel bypassing, maybe FPGAs, but also this aspect of library developments, right? Like financial mathematics, right? That's something. Another thing I had in mind was like a payments network, and this is just kind of like inspired from Bitcoin. But when I mean a payment network, I'm not meaning like cryptocurrency. I do not want to build that. Now, a payment network that utilizes cryptocurrency, sure. But I'm not going to build a cryptocurrency. Let me get that straight. There's also hardware projects like Raspberry Pi, Flipper Zero. Flipper Zero is pretty cool because I actually... So a really cool thing. Oops. So I have the where is the new stuff? I can't find it. Oh, it's here. Sorry. Let me flex some more stuff for you guys. Oh, what the fuck? What is this here? Okay. Sorry. So, I have the Flipper Zero. I have the Flipper Zero with the Wi-Fi dev board, which I see a lot of people complaining because they don't get it. I even got a prototyping board. And I even have the brand new video game module, which is lit. You know what the best thing about all of this stuff is? I've only used the Flipper Zero as a remote controller for my TV. Nice. So yeah, I don't know shit. And I bought this. I haven't done anything with it. And yeah. Actually, I'm gonna unbox this thing. Let's see what's in here. Nice. Video game module. Well, that's poor design. They don't make it fit with the official case that they use. It's a shame. Whatever. This will come in later. Maybe we could build games or something. And we also use Pure C, which is cool, I guess. What else? Advent of code, Neat Code, Code Forces, lectures. I've already. Oh yeah, when I was talking about lectures, When I was writing lectures down, I was thinking like, what are things I already did in university, which was machine learning, functional programming. I did theory of computation, databases, and I even wrote a TypeScript database. Databases, I took a class where I learned things like, alt2 indexing. I took a previous database class that talked about all about like the 3NF normalizations, and apparently there's like 4NF, 5NF, 6NF. What? Uh, and then I also did a project where it's not really like it's like a TypeScript database where I actually went ahead and implemented those things like the B plus tree, and given a data set, right? It was my job to convert that into something of a database format, and then also have a parser of sorts where given some textual input, right? Parse it in a way that can yield the correct results, and that involved things like testing, and they actually force us to do test-driven development. I don't know what the thoughts are on that, but things that I'm missing. Well, I think this is just more so because it's like a refresher on many things, and it also has a networking thing, which I think is pretty cool. Compiler course, crafting interpreters, operating systems. I didn't do operating systems. Honestly, the three biggest things I think I'm missing is, and they're pretty big, network programming. Like I never actually built a web server in C++. That it forces you to learn the TCP protocols or UDP or like all this other stuff. Like you don't do multicast, or I haven't done, I've done it. I know what they are for my job, and I understand how they interact with my system, but I don't actually get to program and do those things. Compilers, no fucking idea how they work. Zero. I know that there's this whole like, it's like very data structure heavy, and I know that there's like even things such as LVM, but yeah. Oh, and then operating systems. I don't really know that. Maybe this has to do with like kernel development, maybe. Anyway, point is, I think this is a good. I think this is a good thing to learn. Anyway, so that's that. Yeah, so I'm gonna write that down. Sorry, give me a sec. Yo, this is sick. Bruh, this is so sick. A buddy of mine is in New York City. Yeah. So yeah, I think that is good enough to I think that's good enough to right. Actually, I think I'll bin this. Sorry. I'll trash this and then stage here and then okay. Sorry. Then what's it? Right, stream plan. Okay. Okay, cool. So yeah, I think with that we're set. I think next stream I think my plan ultimately is to choose a project, which I think is gonna be, I don't know, man. What's stopping me from choosing this project? Honestly, what is stopping me from choosing this project? I honestly think this would be the only thing stopping me from doing it, but honestly, I think for the sake of, I think what stops me is that I don't think I'll be able to actually create any inherent value, and I don't think like this will be something that'll be profitable, but I think it's a very good learning experience. And honestly, maybe that's not a bad idea. But as for other projects, maybe other projects have things that are way better in terms of like value you provide, right? Like you're building products that you can like sell to people, and like this is not something you sell to a person, but rather, I don't know. But point is, fuck it, we're doing it. We're writing this thing. We're writing this fucking thing. I think it's too good of a project to not pursue. It's too good of a project not to pursue. Um, and you just learn so much, man. You just learn so much. Fuck it, we're doing the stock trading bot. And because of that, right, a lot of the stuff, I'm thinking we should learn Rust, but I don't know a single bit of Rust at all. So my idea is to, oh dude, you want to know the biggest flex of all time? See that? Woo! Woo! Nice. You know, I just get 2 letters, and those are my initials. So, anyway, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go through the advent of codes, but fuck it, we'll learn some Rust. We'll do it. But yeah, I think that is good enough for my first stream. Thank you guys for tuning in. Or, you know, hopefully you get to see this stream sometime in the future. But anyway, thank you so much. I hope this is a really enticing endeavor for you as much as I hope is an enticing endeavor. You know, like I hope it's an enticing endeavor for myself, but I hope that I can communicate some passions or some of my passion or some of my energy to you guys, and I hope that I can interact with you guys and, you know, not just learn through building these projects, but also learn from you guys, because I am currently, I don't know, I feel like I'm still a novice, even though I did this for a, you know, for a degree. I feel like I've got some fundamentals down, but in terms of like actually programming and building things, I'm very much a novice. Like I see people on YouTube build some like insane shit, and like I want to work harder to get to that point. So without further ado, thank you guys so much for tuning into the stream, and I hope it's been a good one. Happy Leap Day. Actually, before I conclude, I think it's very, very cool to kind of look back on some of these days where, like looking at myself 4 years ago, I would have never imagined I would be in the position that I am, and I'm very grateful that I am in the position that I am right now. And I don't know, like these next 4 years are gonna be insane, man. It's gonna be fucking insane. And I don't know. I Leap Day 2028. Let's see how far I go. Anyway, thank you guys so much. Once again, hopefully this stream is not in vain. But yeah, adios.